KVK is officially over, and now we are able to look at the season retrospect and actually take a look at the full stat breakdown of this KVK. If you guys are new here, this is Gainz Gaming. We are recapping the 1079 KVK, where we did unfortunately lose KVK, but we did pick up about 1 billion kill points during KVK, so I am pretty happy with that. Hopefully next KVK we'll be able to hit 7 billion. That's kind of my hope by the end of the next KVK, depending on what the fighting looks like there. But let's dive right into the season retrospect and take a look at what the stats actually looked like for the entire KVK. All right, this is my first time looking at this, so we are going to dive through together. This is the 4th time we've had a season retrospect. I really like this, honestly. I think this is really, really cool. So we killed 57,597,000 units, more than 99% of other governors. And then on this day, 4/6, this was Kingsland, I believe, we destroyed 13 million units. All right, that's 13 million in one day. Next year, we healed 33 million units and 1.8 million were killed. So that means that I killed 57, almost 58 million units, and I healed 33 million units. So I did trade positive, but not 2-to-1. So obviously I did not expect to trade 2-to-1 or 3-to-1, but let's see, 57.5 million kills divided by 33 million sevs. We traded at about 1.75 times more kills than we had sev wounds, which honestly, I mean, I'll take that. That's pretty decent. That's better than on average what I usually get during KVK. So killing 1.75 times more than I'm actually taking, that's a pretty decent trade. All right, defending the home front, we defeated 10,360 barbarian troops and 534 barbarian forts. So, I did try to chain as much as I could during this KVK. I probably could have done more, but, in the times that I was able to, I did try to make sure I was chaining with at least like 2 marches around the field, just to, get as much value as possible from barbarians, because obviously the amount of speed ups you can get from doing that is pretty substantial. Going on here for the Alliance. So my Alliance S9, we killed 4.1 billion enemy units, ranking number 1 in the Lost Kingdom, which is pretty awesome. We built 324 Alliance flags and we destroyed 53 enemy Alliance flags. So we didn't really destroy a ton, but obviously we didn't win KVK, so I wouldn't really expect that number to be super high. Going on here, our kingdom killed 5.2 billion enemy units. So about 1.1 billion enemy units were coming from, our other shell alliances, but majority from our S79 alliance. But we did rank number 1 in the Lost Kingdom for the number of kills for each kingdom. Then on here, for King and Kingdom, our kingdom healed a total of 5.14 billion units, also ranking number 1. A total of 363 million units were also killed, which ranks number 2. So, we did trade barely 1-to-1 between how many we killed, how many we healed, but we also had the second most amount of dead troops in the entire KVK, which is pretty substantial as well. Now let's go on and take a look at the season accolades. This one I really love too. So we can see the healing leaderboard, the kill leaderboard, and the death leaderboard. We can see here we already have a couple people from 1079. We have Lion King as the number 1 for healing. We have Charlie number 2 for healing, Echo number 3 for killing, and Keat coming in number 1 for deaths. So let's take a look at killing first. I like to take a look at this one the most. So I actually ranked 47th in the killing leaderboard, which is pretty nice. I enjoy seeing that. Ari finishing number 1, obviously Ari is the number 1 killer in the entire KVK, I believe. So, rightfully so, going to finish number 1 with 177 million kills. It's over 3 times what I achieved, which is pretty insane. But let's just take a look at like the top 20 maybe, and you guys can pause if you want to see. 1079 representing pretty nicely in the top 10 there. And then all the way up to rank 20 right here, Big Blunt. We did very, very well in terms of kills, that's for sure. Then taking a look at the Alliance section, as you can see again, 4 billion from S79, 3 billion at number 2 from 2381, 2.5 billion from 3065, 2.1 billion from 1500, 1.5 from 2728. So, obviously we did pretty decent in terms of the amount of killing that we did. We were obviously in a situation where we were fighting a larger enemy. Like we had more people that we were fighting against, which you would expect us to lose in that situation. Even though we were the strongest by power and one of the strongest by kill points in the KVK, you still don't really expect us to be able to carry, because that's not the kind of kingdom 1079 is. That's why we were known as the underdogs for this KVK. Now taking a look at kingdom, once again, you can see 1079 almost double what number 2 is with 2381. And, you know, WinCamp did very, very well. You can see combined WinCamp with 6 billion kills, 3.2 coming from 2381 and 2.8 coming from 3065. Now our allies 1500 did very, very well too for their size of kingdom with 2.7 billion kills. And then we can take a look at water and fire. 1504, you know, did the best that they could. You can see we actually had some people from 1365 helping out a little bit, but, you know, obviously not that extensive of amount of help that we're going to get from a kingdom of all farm accounts. Now let's go on to the death leaderboard next. So we were 47th in kills. Let's take a look at deaths. We didn't even rank in the dead category, which I didn't expect. I had 1.7 million dead, so I don't expect to rank in here. But Keat with 6.3 million dead troops. I believe, yeah, this does not include T1 troops. So people that are trying to, you know, inflate their numbers with T1, that's obviously not going to count. But Keat, you know, one of the strongest by power in the KVK. So obviously he's going to be willing to kill a lot more troops. But 6.3 million troops is crazy. We'll take a look at the top 20 once again. You can see even maybe this guy was zeroed. It looks like he probably quit, so he might have just been zeroed. But one thing you have to take into consideration here, like I said, is that if people get zeroed, they're going to end up on this list. Like this guy probably got zeroed. This one probably got zeroed. You know, people that have farm accounts, they're probably the ones getting zeroed and they're going to end up on this list versus people like Keat that just, you know, swarmed everything and filled everything. Those are actual deaths, not being zeroed kind of deaths. But let's take a look at the alliance section. We actually just barely number 2 behind 3065 with just under 200 million dead troops. So, you know, WinCamp definitely took a ton of dead troops, substantially more than 1079 and 1500 combined. So considering that we were fighting basically against each other the entire KVK, and then eventually Watercamp came into the mix there with 105 million deads here and then 81 million deads there, you know, for that reference, we actually traded pretty well in terms of dead troops. Now let's take a look at Kingdom. Now here we are number 1, 355 million dead troops. WinCamp, we have 343 million and then 230 million. So, you know, between EarthCamp versus WinCamp, we traded very, very well, especially since we were taking a 2v1 in terms of camps for majority of the KVK with, you know, wind and water fighting against us. You know, a little bit of help from fire as well, but, you know, obviously substantially less than what we were getting from EarthCamp because we only had one other kingdom that was actually fighting there. But once again, we had some farm accounts in 1365 that were helping out a little bit. But obviously 1079 and 1500 had to take a lot of the brunt of the damage against 3065 and 2381. But the fact that we traded this well in terms of both deads and killing, I am pretty happy with. You know, even though we did not win the KVK, this shows that we actually traded very, very well. Now let's go on to the healing leaderboard. We can see an individual. This is crazy. 107 million healed from Lion King, 103 million from Charlie. You know, I believe that this does not include T1 either. So these are all real healing. And this is kind of crazy, but this really shows like this was an expensive KVK for a lot of people. And, you know, a lot of people were in the top category for kills too, which you would expect. But it is kind of eye-opening too to see how well people actually traded in KVK in terms of how many kills they got versus how many healing they actually did. And considering I did about 33 million heals, roughly 32, 33 million, you know, I'm pretty happy with how I did. I didn't even make it in the top 100, but I was in the top 50 in terms of killing. Now, I know some people are going to say, well, it's because you're not tanking. And it's like, yeah, I'm purposely not going to tank when I don't have max tech. If I had max tech, I would tank all day long. But since I don't have max tech, I'm not going to purposely take bad trades just for the heck of it. Like, I know some people in my live streams are like, go tank in the murder ball, or just go walk into their murder ball. I'm like, no, like this is, I'm not going to be stupid with my account and just, you know, waste my resources and speed ups. I want to actually fight smart and show people how to fight smart so they can do that on their own account as well. Now let's take a look at the Alliance. We were number 1 in healing for the Alliance, as you would expect, considering we were also number 1 in kills. But with heals, we can see from S9, 3.7 million heal compared to 4 million kills. So we did trade positive in that regard. We can take a look at 2381 and 2381 once again. So we can see that they also traded positive just slightly. And then finally, we can take a look at 3065, and they also just barely traded positive. So we did trade the most positive out of the top 3. But if we take a look at the Kingdom leaderboard, we can see we were number 1 by quite a large margin. But if you compare EarthCamp to WinCamp, we actually traded pretty even, pretty much exactly even between the two camps. But then you look at water, substantially less fighting from these guys over here because obviously they were fighting fire in the first zone versus, you know, wind and earth were fighting against each other. And that zone ended pretty quickly with earth winning pretty handedly. You know, once you get into the 2v1 situation, that's going to change things entirely. Overall, this was a really, really fun KVK. I think that we did really, really well for the situation that we were put into. I think the domain system was really the reason why this KVK was kind of a wash for us. I think that if we had the opportunity to have a 4v4, the KVK would have been very different. You know, even if it wasn't 1365, that was in the other category, in the other camp, I think it would be a much different KVK on how things played out. But, you know, I am very happy with how the KVK went in terms of my own statistics. I did just get 2 more of these iconic crystals, so I'll be able to iconic the last 2 pieces of my gear that I need, which is pretty awesome. I am going to have to buy out 2 more things in the combat shop, then also pick up an inscription. Unfortunately, no autark inscription, so we'll have to go for the non-limited. Most likely going to try to get a robust, but might look into getting something for my Luce. We'll have to see what we want to do, what we have available on my armaments, because that's really going to, you know, dictate what I'm actually able to do. Now, a lot of people like to take a look at honor too, so we'll take a look at honor. I finished 492nd. I was not pushing honor whatsoever. I really just don't care to push honor because even like top 20 is 420,000 honor, which is insane. And honestly, to me, it's just not really worth the amount of time that you have to put into it of chaining barbarians. And you basically have to win KVK in order to win honor in most circumstances. You know, we do have one person here from 1079, Lolakins, but she also had like 450,000 honor like going into King's Land. She was literally 5 marching or 6 marching basically all day, every single day. I think she said she had like 4 or 5 million AP available and had already spent like 3 million before we got to King's Land. Like, it was just absurd because she was like, well, I have all this AP saved up, so I might as well start using it. You know, in my alliance, I'm rank 37, but like I said, I really just don't care about honor. For coalition, we finished number 3 because, you know, obviously you're not going to finish in the top rank if you are not winning KVK. It's kind of inferred. Going by camp, once again, 3rd place in camp. And then with alliances, this is also, you know, basically whoever wins KVK is going to get 1st place here. But we know we do get some rewards for this. You know, if we take a look in the system mail, we can see we got 10 gold keys and 10 crystal keys for being number 1 in the camp rankings. Coalition rank 3, we got 3 gold heads. Rank 1 would have gotten 7 gold heads. And then individual rank, we got 1 gold head. You know, obviously the top ranks are going to get this conquest coin, which honestly, like, I don't really care all too much about the conquest coins because, like, if I go into here, I literally have 10 conquest coins and I don't really have any need for any of this equipment because all my equipment is already legendary. That's kind of one mistake I made, was not buying any of these. And so, like, I could buy the palace here for AP recovery. But other than that, like, just buying inscriptions every KVK, but then I'm going to continuously get more and more conquest coins that I can't even spend. So I got to figure out what I want to do with that. If I want to, you know, switch out one of my pieces for a KVK weapon or a KVK helmet, that might be something I have to look into. Because, you know, obviously I'm going to continuously get more conquest coins, but have nowhere to spend them if I don't have any of these pieces. So I got to figure that out and what I want to do. If you guys have any advice, drop that down below on what you guys think I should do, because obviously I'm going to continuously get more and more conquest coins that I literally cannot spend. But let me know what you guys think down below. But overall, this is a really fun KVK. I'm looking forward to the next one because, you know, obviously I feel like my account's in a good standing right now where I'm, you know, close to 6 billion kill points. So my goal for this next KVK, like I said, is to get up to 7 billion kill points. That's 1.4 billion kill points in the next KVK. So I'm hoping that we can go into a nice KVK where we're going to have a lot more fighting than this one. Hopefully something that's a little bit more fair as well. But even if it's not fair, as long as the fighting lasts a long period of time, I really don't care. Like, if we lose KVK, but we get a good amount of fighting, I'm more than happy with that. Like, I would have been way more upset with this KVK if we got like no fighting whatsoever, but we won. I would absolutely hate that. Like, I would much rather lose KVK and get a good amount of fighting and, you know, have fun in KVK rather than just like get a washed KVK and easily win. Like, that's just boring. One thing I really don't like too is how a lot of these KVKs don't have zone invasions. You know, even though we would have gotten kicked out, I think that would have been a lot of fun just to, you know, fight a little bit more in our zone. Although that's how you have a lot of people getting zeroed. So at the same time, it's kind of a nice thing that they changed in some KVKs. I feel like there's still some KVKs where you can have the Zone 4 invaded. Let me know down below if you guys know if that's still a thing. But if you guys enjoyed the video, do me a favor, drop a like and subscribe on here. Thanks for checking out the video. Have a great rest of your day.